Okay.
But theoretical evolutionists think that they can prove that programmed aging is just impossible. It's a ridiculous idea. So if you're faced with this mechanism that clearly causes aging, you've got to say it's got to benefit. And the only conceivable benefit is that when cancer cells start multiplying out of control, they've got to disable they've got to be able to produce telomerase for themselves, or else they're going to run out of telomere, and they won't be able to continue their immortal line of cells.
Right.
So that's the theory, and the two arguments against that are one, that there are animals that have this telomerase mechanism that don't experience cancer, most notably protists.
Okay.
The telomerase and the telomere mechanism evolved first in protozoans, and there was no such thing as cancer. I mean, that's ridiculous. The idea of cancer doesn't even exist for protozoans. So it's a very old mechanism, and its original purpose was clearly to cause aging in protozoans. And the second is much hazier because the data is still in, and people argue about it.
Okay.
But it seems that these people with short telomeres actually have higher cancer rates as well. And in animal studies where they express extra telomerase, there's no increase in the rate of cancer. In fact, there's some evidence that cancer is avoided.
Okay. All right. Well, you've certainly answered the telomere question there pretty thoroughly. So I'm going to ask again another kind of counter argument to, or a theory anyway.
Sure, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, a theory anyway in this debate. And I just want to mention, I'm not going to, no one here is going to hold you to anything, request, in-depth sources, and if you have opinions, please state them. No one's going to hold you to, looking for references and hardcore data to back it up. So.
I'd like to supply
sure.
references, and let's do that by email after the.
Sure. Okay. The one thing I want to mention is also some people theorize that the changes in genetic expression are occur in response to damage that occurs throughout your life. So that what we look at and say, oh, this is a genetic change, some sort of metabolic pathway has changed, some sort of repair mechanism has changed. It's a response to accumulated damage, perhaps DNA mutations, which I guess we're kind of getting into a mixed theory here, where telomere shortening could be considered damage, right? In that we're losing chunks of DNA.
No.
No?
That's not what telomeres are about at all.
Okay.
Telomeres are they're tails on the end. They're repeated sequences. They carry no genetic information, and they're only as a counting mechanism. There's no other function.
Okay.
There's no reason why short telomeres. There's no necessary physical reason why short telomeres should signal a cell to turn off its replication.
Okay.
But in fact, the cell is programmed in that way to respond to short telomeres.
Okay, and then
I would not call short telomeres damage.
Okay.
All
right. It's a counting.
It's clearly part of a counting mechanism.
Okay.
Counts reproduction.
And so then, I mean, a couple of people have asked, okay, we want to combat aging, and this is one of the programmed aging mechanisms here. Then just restoring telomeres should help us in that regard, correct?
Well, this is the $64,000 question.
Right, and I know there are some companies.
In the field.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of companies out there looking for this.
I'd love to see somebody just shooting up
telomerase
into rodents.
Well, I thought that they did that.
It's a long shot.
What is shot. Isn't Geron?
Experiment isn't done yet.
Geron Corporation? Are you familiar with Geron Corporation with their TA65?
Geron has this extract from the astragalus
Right.
a Chinese herb, that gets into the cell's nucleus where telomerase is most needed, and it stimulates the expression of telomerase. The mechanism is not fully understood yet. They're still experimenting with it, and I'm excited about it. And when it becomes available, I've already looked around. Where can I get some of it?
Oh, okay.
I would take it in a minute.
Well, and I did notice some research.
On how the experiments are going to come out.
Sure.
But as a scientist, I've got to say, I can't recommend anybody else would take this.
Right.
I'd say, well, let's do the experiments. Set a high priority of finding out what increased telomerase expression can do, first in animals and then in humans.
Right, and I know many people had speculated, well, if you increase telomeres or you inject telomerase, that we're going to all get cancer and die. And I thought I'm quite sure, in fact, that just in the last couple of months, some research came out that someone was extending the telomeres in mice, and they did not develop cancer at a higher rate than the controls, which was a good sign. I'm not sure if you saw.
Send me the reference. That's the kind of reference that I.
Oh, okay.
I collect those things.
Okay, I'll have to look for that again. Yes, and then also I wanted to bring up another point about damage before we move into maybe some of the health and nutrition things that you have discussed in the past. That is, I know a few of the questions some people are interested in, but. One other point on the damage versus program theory of aging and how you're going to combat it. Now, we have also talked with Dr. Michael Rose, UC Irvine, who you're familiar with, in his fruit flies.
Yeah.
And the main question to him was, okay, so you can breed mice and or flies, and extend their lives, as if you were inserting a new genetic program that's allowing them to age slower or live indefinitely. Okay. And then the question to him was, well, how? This seems like a long process that you're going to have to breed strains of mice in order to live longer, and then figure out what kind of genetic changes were going on, and then perhaps try and figure out something that's going to be applicable to humans. Whereas I think the allure of the damage theory of aging is that it seems easier to target those certain aspects of damage. And to go along with that, I wanted to ask. Another allure of the damage theory of aging is that we do have metabolic byproducts that build up in our cells throughout our lives that we can't get rid of. And they certainly do cause pathology after a while. It seems quite certain anyway. I'll leave that to you to say how certain that is. But it does seem that these advanced glycation end products build up, what's the other, lipofuscin, fuscin, in our lysosomes.
Unviable.
Yeah,
Right.
this stuff is undigestible by our bodies, and they certainly cause pathology and death. But you're now, as an evolutionary biologist, maybe you're saying they don't cause aging. They may cause death, but they don't cause aging. Would that be clear to say?
Don't put words in my mouth.
Sorry.
Let's go back to Michael. I had the privilege to meet Michael. I've known about his work for years,
Okay.
but I had the privilege to meet him for the first time at the SENS conference.
Okay.
A year and a half ago. And, there's a lot we don't agree on, but his basic perspective that genes control aging and that our best shot at controlling aging for the future is to locate those genes and figure out how to control them. I'm behind that 1,000%. I'm a big supporter of his program.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too. I'm just, my own main criticism, it seems like it's going to take a long time. Because he's been breeding these fruit flies for 20 years, right? I mean, since the early 80s when he first discovered that there was no biological aging, or didn't seem like. But
am I correct that he's now got a factor of 4 in the lifespan of those after 20 years of breeding? They live 4 times as long as the flies he started with. He's made a lot of progress in 20 years.
It is. Now I'm just waiting to see how long it's going to take to transfer that into humans. I'm certainly we're learning